G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where I get to do two of my favourite things, sit behind a microphone and talk crap. I get to do that with two of my idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome him to the microphone, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
Well, it's Christmas again, isn't it? That time of year, the tree's gone up. Must admit, it's a new tree. So very proud of my family for doing that. It's not one of my big strengths, I've got to be honest with you, this tree stuff. But it's up, and I'm looking at it right now, and there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got an inflatable Christmas tree and I can't find it.
Well, anyway, it's a kid theme, so I guess that's a good segue for the evening.
Yep, no worries. All right, let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boyce.
Gentlemen,
Hey, going?
I'm back in the fold, gents.
In the good
Out
books.
of the last 7 days, I've sailed 6 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely stuffed.
It's hard work, isn't it? I didn't get.
Tell you,
You
mate.
were busy up here. You didn't. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get anything.
No, I know. Yeah, it was up in Sydney, just doing a bit of Hobart prep for on the Willow with some great, man, I got to say.
I was with Sven. I was with young Sven today. He told me all about it.
Couple of great, really great guys, and a great team. But what's worse than bloody loading a main on a 70-footer?
Oh, that's a good tough one. I don't know, 100-footer?
Flying.
Yeah, loading a main on a 100-footer. Just the sails and stuff, like coming bouncing out of the TP back onto the Volvo 70. Just moving the sails and stuff around. Oh my God.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Just painful. But no, and unfortunately I had to bail out from those boys and make my way back to Adelaide, which seems I did at the right time to avoid the avoid the Omicron, whatever the hell it's called, virus going around, and made it in okay. But the question being posed right now is Hobart going to happen?
Oh,
It's a bloody tough question.
No, BP. There's stuff happening.
what have I
Adding
heard?
to
What's
that-
happened today?
I'm not sure we can say.
So, in theory, Tassie's open up on the 15th of December. Potentially, that decision may be delayed until the 22nd. Well, that whole thing may be delayed till the 22nd. So, the rumour I hear is we're not going to know until the 22nd whether Hobart's going to happen or not.
Yep.
Well, I must admit, I've had my head in the sand. I'm just trying to get to Indonesia.
Well, have you heard about the so this week was Cabbage Tree Race.
Yes,
or
correct.
This weekend. And there was a COVID case on Blackjack.
Oh, great.
Someone on board had COVID.
Awesome.
So my question, has Slingers been on board
Oh, no.
in all the training? I don't know. I do not know if he has been, but he sails that boat. So, yeah, they didn't end up doing the race, but there's obviously going to be a lot of close contacts.
Yeah, and they'll all be isolated now. So
Yeah.
there'll be some nervous people around that bit of
very
news.
Nervous. Yeah. A little nervous myself whether Hobart's going to happen or not, to tell you the honest truth.
This stuff. It's a bit.
Wow.
So on that top note, on that positive note,
Yes. That was more along the lines of I don't quite really know what to say. Because anyway.
Anyway.
crazy times.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, BP, what's
Yep.
your Christmas tree? Is it pine needles or it's in the shape of a bloody coronavirus ball?
No. It's a Omni.
Omni.
It's an Omni tree.
You
No,
idiots.
come on. Move
You
away.
idiots. All right. Lads, since we started this show, we've been rabbiting on about how we're trying to find pathways, create growth in sailing, like, and what we sort of, everything we sort of do is motivated by that. And of course, most of the sailors we get on the show are established, they've had their careers, and we're trying to find what works about sailing. And we knew from day one we needed to speak to young people, people that are coming up and coming through, to actually understand their perspective. So from a world sailing perspective, they hear from the voice of the kids that are going to be the future. And so we've been really determined to find some young people to come onto the show that would work. But of course, getting the youth of today to say more than 3 words and get off their video games has been impossible. But I think we may have broken the back here. I think we've got a great opportunity. Where I live in Queensland, we've had our awards season, and the Queensland Youth Sailor of the Year was named. His name is Hugo Ralph. He's a 15-year-old, sails out of Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron, and he can string a few words together in a sentence. So we have invited him as our primary guest on the show. Hugo, welcome to Barkarati, bud.
Oh, hello.
Are you excited or nervous?
Both.
Good man. So I'll just, Hugo, we just got a pre-position. You're down in New South Wales. I take it you've gone down for Sail New South Wales, Sail Sydney. Is that right? You're actually competing this morning, today?
Yeah, so I've come down for the New South Wales States and South Sydney.
Yeah.
And today's day 2 of the New South Wales States.
Right. So we've got a short window of you before you head out towards getting on the water. So thanks for joining us and taking the time, and thanks to you folks for allowing that as well. Mate, first question. Why sailing? How'd you get into sailing?
Well, when I moved to Brisbane, we lived down near the bay, so Mum and Dad got me to do a tackers course.
Mm.
So I did tackers 1, and I actually didn't really enjoy it.
Right.
So then I was out of sailing didn't sail for a few years. But my sister started school sailing at her school, and she was at Lewis Hill, and they went around and did some of their regattas at the small clubs around southeast Queensland. And so I was always there, and there was always other classes sailing, and Mum and Dad decided one time to get me in a sabo just to race with them. And I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So then after that, I did sabos for 2 years and moved to opties for a few, and then into 4.7s.
Right.
So was your mum and dad fully into sailing, and they were the ones that pushed you, or it was just a bit of just off the back of your sister doing it through school?
Just off the back of my sister doing it through school. Yeah. Mum and Dad have never really sailed.
Okay. It's Hugo, are you telling me you were onto it from a young age and you thought, right, my sister, she's going to have some hot friends when they grow up. I need to be involved in the same sport. Is that was that your logic?
Oh, I normally don't say that out loud, but yeah.
I love it. So what did you love, mate? What was the thing that actually made you go, oh, I love this, do you reckon? It's just the freedom, or?
Yeah, there was a bit of on the water. There's just a feeling of freedom being out there. But then on shore, it was just the friendships. Yeah. I just loved hanging out with everyone after sailing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So were your folks nervous? If they're non-sailors, because when I sort of ever teach youngsters, and I've got the parents in the room, one of the things I always say is to the kids is how cool your parents must be, because it's far harder to sail a boat than it is to drive a car. And here they are trusting you completely at a young age in getting you out in a boat. Parents have a lot of trust in their kids to go with. But your parents, do you reckon they were nervous when you were going out on the water, or they like the idea of the sport?
I think, they like the idea because, Mum still doesn't let me go out obviously in the big winds by myself. But she's always working at the club, so she's down there.
Yep.
Anyways, so she's pretty happy they're pretty happy with me on water.
Yep.
Whenever.
Yep. Cool.
Oh, just thinking of it from a parental point of view, and it's a good point you bring up, Jordan. It's nothing I've really thought about, but it could quite nerve-wracking sending your little babies out on the ocean, of which is a scary place to start with. not to mention with your kids out there. So have you scared Mum, Hugo? Like, I know I always used to get a bit of a tummy ache when it was a bit blowy in the old hold-fast trainer, a bit nervous and all. But have you scared Mum, been out in the big blow?
Oh, there's one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
It was on her birthday, day before a regatta, and we'd gone out just for a quick sail. This was on the 29er, and it was an old 29er, 20 years old, so not the best quality boat, but we were out there. It was good winds, and we snapped the tiller.
Right.
Straight off right at the end of the rudder box, so it was pretty hard to steer.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting off water really late, so decent way out, and I kind of missed her dinner. But yeah, I think she was probably a bit worried when we didn't come in when we were meant to, and probably didn't do well for gave her a bit of stress.
Fair enough. Well, it's tough to sail a boat back without a rudder, especially when you're younger and you haven't planned it. I've never sailed a 29er, so I don't know if you can sail them without a rudder. No?
Yeah, I just had both hands on the rudder box, just trying to steer it that way.
Right. So you sort of go from the Sabo back down to an Opti, like that's kind of an unusual step. So for the overseas listeners, the Sabo is just, I guess, effectively a bigger version of an Opti. It doesn't have the gaff rig, but it's very much a boat that's sailed by a lot of kids here in Queensland. It's either or. So going back into the bathtub, I guess Sabo's not too different. Was it because there was so much competition that's what you wanted to do, or that's where the training pathway was?
Well, at the time, I think we just lived really close to Royal Queensland, which was primarily an Opti club.
Yep.
And in the Sabo, we were driving into Bulimbo at the Brisbane Sailing Squadron to sail them.
Yep.
So I think it was just easy, like it was closer, and just made it a lot easier instead of driving into Bulimbo each Saturday.
Makes 100% sense. It's interesting, isn't it? Like how those pathways come about. So, because Bicey was talking about sailing in the holdfast trainer, which again is basically the same sort of size as an Opti or a Sabo, but it's got a little jib on it. And from memory, I never saw one of those either, Bicey, but the jib never had a cleat, did it? It was never allowed to have a cleat.
Oh, no cleat. Oh. And at least that 0.6 of a square metre, you were holding on to that all day.
Some 5-year-old kid straining his hands I never understood that. I was just crazy. But anyway. Okay, so how long have you been sailing now, Hugo?
Well, when I started sailing Sabos when I was 7 or 8, so that would make it, around 8 years.
Yeah, right. So... with your skill set, you've won Queensland Youth Sailor of the Year, which is congratulations. It's a big claim.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you've got mastery of the sport, or do you feel like you really understand it? At this age.
Oh, you can never master the sport.
Right.
Always places to improve.
Nice.
Humble. Geez, have you been working with Hugo before, Jordan?
No, I knew I was onto a winner when I met Hugo. I love it, mate. Love it. So you've been sailing the single-handers. You've sailed the 29er a little bit. What's your favourite boat at the moment?
That I've sailed? Radial.
Laser radial?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we... needs a bit of education still.
Yeah. Need to do a bit more work, Jordan. Hugo, Sabos, Opti, the laser now, where do you see yourself in a year or two? What, stepping up to that radial or straight into the Moth, the 69er F, what is it? Where do you see yourself?
Well, where I see myself in a year or two is probably still on the radial. Just hopefully I've gained a bit more weight by then, because I might need that, especially after the windy weather we've seen this weekend.
Yep. That's it. Keep going.
But after that, I'm not really sure. It just depends on circumstances. But as long as I'm sailing, I just want to keep sailing.
Right.
I wouldn't mind doing bit more yacht racing though.
Yep.
As in big boats?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn your hand into that. Yeah, good.
What about the Olympics?
You're taking the right path there, Hugo. Maybe we should talk a little more.
Ignore him. Okay, so obviously where you're based in Queensland, you've got Mara Stransky, who's sailing the Laser Radial Worlds right now. And I take it you've done a bit of time with Mara, I would assume?
Yes, Mara's coached me a few occasions.
Yeah.
Most notable one would be at the Queensland Youth Champs in September.
Yep.
And she was an amazing coach. Learned a lot.
Excellent. That's great news. And so Maddie Belcher was also there giving a ton of time. Also another Queensland lad. So from a perspective of a young sailor, do you sort of think, wow, that's pretty amazing that those people are giving the time, or you just, how do you view that time spent with someone like with Mara or Matt?
I believe it's, amazing, because obviously they have their busy schedule with their sailing, and for them to firstly just take time out of that schedule to talk with us and coach us is it means a lot. And the time they actually do spend with us, it's like what you learn from just listening to them speak about their experiences is unbeatable. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, one of the things about our sport that it's hard for people, we hear that our sport's exclusive, we hear it a lot from non-sailors. And I just can't emphasise enough how it's the exact opposite, because it's so inclusive. One, you get to sail on the same race course as the best in the world. It doesn't matter what standard you're at, you're allowed onto that race course. And two, you can be down at your local yacht club and the best in the world will be there happily giving their time to help you. You ask them a question, they'll give you an answer, or they'll coach you or do such, And that's just the nature of our sport. And for youngsters coming through, it must be amazing. The question for me from you then is, do you have a favourite sailor?
Do I have a favourite sailor?
Yeah, like, do you?
Well, my favourite sailor.
Before you answer this, Hugo, I know Jordan has spoken to you before the show. You're not allowed to mention his name, okay?
Oh, exactly what I was going to say. I have to rethink that. Well, my favourite sailor it's tough because there's so many great ones.
Yeah.
Probably Mara Stransky.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's great. Who else is in the consideration for you, mate?
Oh, Andrew Stransky, Tom Slingsby.
I love it.
And Slingers, you mentioned Tom Slingsby there, recently crowned Yachtsman of the Year, Rolex Yachtsman of the Year. Have you had any interactions with Tom?
No, except in my dreams.
In your dreams?
I'd love to meet him. It'd be awesome.
You won't be meeting him this week, mate. We've got some bad news for you, but we'll tell you later on. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, so I do have a question for you. I'm going to throw a few names at you, and I just want to see if you can recognise any of these names. So this is what we're dealing with, 15-year-old. So Hugo, fantastic kid, obviously. I'm just sort of going to start working forward. Maybe let's say Sir James Hardy. You ever heard of him?
No.
Okay. Sid Fisher.
No.
Okay. No, don't feel guilty, mate. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to give perspective of what people understand. You got any names you want to throw up, boss?
Well, I could go to the other end of the scale.
Yeah.
Cole Langford.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got the bookends.
I'm just
created.
we're trying to work out where it comes in, when you become aware of a sailor. So, like Chris Nicholson, for example.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Nathan Outridge.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we can see where we're going here.
yeah, just right. Where it comes in. Tony Mutter.
Nah,
Okay. Robbie Nash.
nah.
Wow, isn't that interesting? Like we talk about. I mean, this is not. Those questions are not trying to make you feel bad at all, but just don't misunderstand. It's really for us to understand your perspective. So when you go and find information about sailing, right? Do you know what a magazine is?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So do you pick up a sailing magazine, or do you go to a sailing website, or where do you get your information if you want to find stuff out about our sport?
Oh, I normally just talk to people on the rigging lawn.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Hang on. Got one for you, Hugo.
Yeah.
Are you aware of what bar karate is?
Oh, no, I don't know those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but the actual term bar karate, which does get performed on the rigging lawn, of where a lot of the information comes, when you're reliving the close calls and the tactics from out on the race course, using your hands. You went left, I went right. You tacked on me. You tacked over me. That is the term bar karate. And performed pretty much by anyone who's been sailing in a boat.
Yep. So, yeah. Actually, I do want to ask with one thing. This is going to be an interesting question, Bicey. I'll see if you think this. Have you ever not been aware? If your whole life, boats have been foiling, haven't they? You've always known that boats can foil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Like it's a different perspective. It is really interesting. And I wonder, the reason we're asking these questions, Hugo, is that like world sailing, Australian sailing, all the people that run sailing in the world listen into this show. We know that for a fact because they talk to us. So the reason we're asking these questions is because your perspective of our sport is completely different to how ours was formed. You know,
Well,
like we grew up.
Completely, you're right, but it's the one that counts.
That's right.
Because in 10 years' time, you're the guy who's going to be training hard to go to the Olympics, and we're still stuck in the past. Bring the fin back, for crying out loud.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Whereas your thoughts, Hugo, are where the Olympics need to be in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested from a competitive for getting into sailing. You know, you as a young fella, you've got lots of demands on your life. You know, you've got school, you've got other sports. You know, making an income, all that sort of stuff. So, what other sports are you interested in, Hugo?
I don't play any other sports.
No, so it's totally sailing for you?
Just sailing, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. And what about, so what year are you in school?
I just finished year 10.
Year 10. So you got year 11 and 12. So, and obviously, I know you've got a great relationship with your parents. So are your parents funding everything, or do you go out to, do you work a part-time job to sort of put a bit of money back into the sport? How does it work for you?
Oh, yeah. Mum and Dad are doing the funding.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And
Yeah.
do you talk to them about that, you know, like what your goals are, or do they get really invested? Have they bought a coach boat? That's the important question. That now we'll know where things are. Have they got a little boat they follow our around on, or not?
No.
Okay, they haven't gone that far yet, right?
All right, we're keeping it real still.
Yes. Yeah. So, have you spoke to your parents about your future goals?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's just stick to sailing for the moment. What have you told them? You don't have to tell us if you don't want. If you want to keep it private, keep it private.
Oh, no, I'm happy to say, I'd love to go to Olympics
Yep.
in the future.
Yep. And which class do you reckon's the pathway for you, bud? Is it the laser?
Well, obviously I'd prefer to go laser,
Yep.
but I don't know if I'll get big enough for a standard.
Okay. So what?
Mum and Dad didn't really give me the height genes.
What do you reckon you'll turn out being? Like, what do you reckon you'll turn out to be in terms of height? And if you had to guess,
Well, I'm already taller than Mum and Dad, so not sure how much I got to go.
copy. So how tall are you now?
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But you're not. Are you 6 foot? Do you reckon, or like
Oh,
180, 183, whatever it is?
Oh, not that high.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. So then that pathway, and what do you weigh, Hugo? We're trying to we're doing what Victor does basically. We're trying to work out a few key things here.
I'm around 63 kilos.
63 kilos. So you're a 470 skipper is definitely one potential, but we have a theory that the 470s will end up being women skippers, male crews is what we reckon will happen. So what about the Niners? Are you interested in them?
Oh, I do like the Niners. So maybe that pathway.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to work out. So if you're not going to be of a size for the lasers, you're probably grateful the fins aren't there anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What about with your? Have you only ever sailed? Have you sailed a 420? Have you sailed? You did a bit of 29er sailing and snapped the tiller. What other boats have you sailed?
I think I sailed 49er.
Yeah.
Like, once or twice.
Yeah.
What else have I sailed? Sailed in Accra a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Coming out of the pathway that you have, being Sabo, Opti, Laser, when you jumped on a 49er or an Nacra, did you just step off the back of the boat because they were going so fast?
Oh, I didn't fall off. But yeah, I do like the speed. Gets a bit of adrenaline going.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So with the Spinnakers and stuff, you don't have, with the pathway that you've got, we see it a lot. Kids come through the Opti laser path and, they're coached really well in those, but the actual understanding of how to tune rigs and fly Spinnakers and adjust side stays and what every adjustment means on the boat is pretty weak. Do you recognise that, or you disagree with that, or are you thinking about that sort of stuff? Go on.
Yeah, I agree. It's I'm definitely, especially when I was sailing 29ers. Yep. I never quite knew exactly how to tune the rig.
Yep.
Well, I had the basic ideas, but didn't know really how to put it all together. Yeah.
So we've got, as an example for you, Hugo, there's a young lad who sails 505s, Chris. He's never not been around a 505. He's been sailing on them since he was, 10, 9, something like that. And have you ever seen a 505?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can adjust your rake and your centreboard. You can adjust the height and the angle of the centreboard. You can adjust your side stays, your mast rake. You can adjust your mast ram. You can adjust everything on a 505. And so that kid, Chris, who I'm thinking about, he's come up and he knows how to adjust everything and he knows what it's going to do. He knows how it's going to affect the main and the jib. He knows how to fly kites. A lot of the kids coming through with the lasers, probably better drilled on close quarter sailing, starting practice, all that sort of stuff. But I'll be interested to see if you think that there's a weakness in your learning because of just doing very simple boats. What do you think?
Well, I definitely agree. Other classes that are super technical makes you focus a lot on that tuning the rig, whereas the more ones like lasers with a lot less controls, you're more focused on. Obviously, it's more tactic focused, like close quarter sailing.
Yep.
But we do focus. Well, we spend a bit of time in the lasers looking at rig tuning.
Yep. Yeah, no.
And so in the laser, I feel like I can know how to tune it. But for other classes that do have a lot more technicality, that's where I struggle a bit.
Yep. So just to give you an example, mate, so with Bossy and I, we worked together a lot over the years, and one of the things we're involved in is developing a new ocean racing boat for the ocean race, and we worked on that program, and you're sitting there and you in that process trying to design the new fastest ocean racing boat in the world. You have to understand every element, like we had to understand if you make an adjustment here, what it's going to do to the rest of the boat. And so I'm just intrigued, that knowledge, or if you go onto an offshore boat like Bicey was encouraging you to do before, you've got so many different things that you can sort of play with. And so I'm wondering, is that something that you want to jump onto soon, or you just think that, if you're going to go this pathway to the Olympics, you're just going to stay focused as you are? And if you do want to change it, how do you think you can learn it?
So I didn't quite understand the question there.
Basically, I was trying to give you an example of you need to have the knowledge, all the complex boats and all the tunability, and that makes it you very valuable in the real world when you become you go as a professional sailor. You need to have that knowledge. Basically, if you want to make it as a pro sailor, you just need to have all that tunability knowledge. You need to understand rigs. You need to understand every dynamic. And I was giving an example, and then I was just saying, your focus is the Olympics, from what we can say, probably the laser pathway, depending on how your body structure turns out. Do you feel like you need to go and get that other knowledge now? And if you do, how would you go about it, do you reckon?
Yeah, I do believe I need to improve that aspect.
Sure. So how do you reckon you could learn it?
I think the best way is just sail other class of boats.
Yep.
So when you're in the boat park, Hugo, what other boats actually are there alongside you when you're rigging up your laser? Is it the Niners or all sorts?
On Saturdays at the Sailing Club, we got all the lasers on one lawn. Next to us is the 29ers.
Yeah.
And occasionally there'll be a 49er there. And the next lawn across, we got the NACRAs all set up.
Yep.
And then we get Hobies as well sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right. So with the coaching program, does this sort of stuff get discussed with you guys, or is it just, it's about the boat speed for the laser, it's about, I guess I'm trying to work out if there's cross-training going on in the coaching program. Does that make I'm asking you bad questions or difficult questions. So if that's do the coaches sort of, are they aware that they need to develop your knowledge, not just your sailing, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah, our coach Greg Kemp, he's sailed a lot of boats over his time, and he does spend a lot of time with us looking at rig tuning and just all the adjustments on the laser.
Yep. Okay. All right.
So just on that coaching bit, Hugo, what's your standard weekend? Obviously, you're racing this weekend, but your standard weekend, you're down the club, launch the boat, you've got the coaches out there. Is it just fully into racing? You do some tuning up. How does that work?
Oh, so Saturday mornings we've got training, and for that we'll usually we'll warm up and then just start with drill. And depends on where in the season we're at. Our coach puts together a plan for our whole season.
Mm-hmm.
But so either we work on boat handling or speed or those starts or them. And then towards the end of the session, that's when we put it together and do some practice races.
Yeah.
Just to apply what we've learned in the session. And then in the Arvo, we again practice it in the club racing.
Do you love the fitness aspect of it, the tactical side of it? What do you think your strengths are?
Well, yeah, I definitely do love both of them. Just, racing, just such a close fleet. And also, I just love how physically demanding the laser is.
Yeah.
At the moment, that part's not quite my strength, but yeah.
So you've got the confidence, if your main competitor, you've got the confidence to just start to lord of them and blow their doors off the start line just from hiking hard, so to speak. And that then puts you in the dominating position for the race? Or are you more, that's where the first shift is coming from, I'm going to position myself perfectly off the line for that?
I'd rather first shift, yeah.
Yeah.
Good lad. I like that. One of the fundamentals of the sport. Okay. That's cool. So from your perspective of the sport, being a youngster, what is your view on the sport in terms of, are you happy the way the sport's run? Do you think it's a great sport? Would you bring your kids into it? Where do how do you view the sport?
I love the sport, just kind of how it's set up, because there's on the water you have a lot of rivalry between the competitors, but you get on shore and your mates,
Great.
After sailing, go get chips together, or you see all the fin sailors, they all have their beers.
Yep.
But it's just amazing to have that relationship where you're all super focused, everything on water, but you get on land and it's just sort of relaxed and hang out with each other.
Great.
Then there's also the people at the top of the sport, like the Olympians.
Yep.
How they're just happy to help people down towards the lower ends.
Yep.
Which you don't see in many other sports.
No, you're spot on, mate, and you've said it multiple times. So, for the organisers listening, it truly is that camaraderie. I'd say the exact same thing for me is that you get great close racing, you battle hard, and then you go onto land, and you're best mates. You hang out and you have a laugh, and that's what makes our sport so very good. And as you said, you've got the best sailors you can sail against, and you get to find out where you stand. They're the winning elements of our sport, aren't they? That's what we get so right, and it's ongoing. It was the same for me when I was a young fella. Same for Bicey. And now it's the same for you. So that's the one thing we get 100% right in our sport. And if we take that away, I reckon we've lost our sport. What would you like to see more of in the sport? What do you want to see different?
Honestly, it's more for the social element after, but some regattas or at some clubs after racing, they'll have something like a barbecue, or they just offer something just to keep people around a bit longer.
Sure.
Because otherwise during some regattas, people just leave straight away.
Yep.
Like after racing, but I do like that because it keeps people around and gives you just the opportunity to talk about, like I said, do a bit of bike riding.
Good man.
Yeah.
How would you feel about doing different sort of races, like fun races? The windsurfer days when windsurfing first came out, they have slalom races, they did marathon races. I think the little wasps, those entry falling boats, they do that now. They do all those sorts of things. Is that stuff that would be of interest to you? Like if you could break up the racing, or do you just like that 10 race regatta and just trying to beat each other? Would you like a bit of variety in the sailing? I feel like we've lost you. You take a long time to think, don't you, Hugo? I love it.
Sorry.
You're good, mate. You're good.
I do love the like you said, the 10 race regatta.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to try, like you said, just some other types of racing.
So
Yeah, just to get away from the monotonous windward lured type thing.
So the way I argue it, this is what I'm thinking, Bossy, just to and Hugo for you, but you go away and do your big regattas, 10 race things, but your club racing or your sort of inter-club racing, you that's the ones where you throw in the fun and different events, just to make it interesting, because I reckon we lose people from the middle and the back of the fleet because they get bored, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like they're getting flogged. So I'd be interested in that. So you'd be okay with doing some fun things, Hugo?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be.
Well,
Yeah.
Speaking of regattas, Hugo, you mentioned you're midway through the New South Wales state titles at the moment. How'd things go yesterday, and how's it all looking for today on the racecourse?
Well, yesterday got up to about 28 knots.
Ooh.
And yeah, I struggled. I definitely did struggle a lot yesterday, because we had 3 races and I went in after 2 because I'm still recovering from a back injury.
yep.
So yeah.
Where
Big day.
are you racing from? What club are you at right now?
We're at Georges River Sailing Club.
Oh, okay. So lots and lots of tide.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be discovering the joys of sailing in big tide, and you'll really notice it. So it'll get choppy and flat. What boat are you sailing? Is it the 4.7 or is it the
radial?
Yeah, radial. Okay, so the big winds would have really thrown you about because you've come out of the 4.7, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, copy.
Yeah, I moved out of 4 points.
How's it looking today, Hugo, with the breeze? Is it still?
Oh, I think Medai was saying about 15, 20 knots.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully a bit less than yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the things I want to ask you, bud, is do you have like a best sailing memory? Like when you sort of think about the sport of sailing, there's something that just stands out for you?
Yeah. One comes to mind. It was at the Queensland Youth Champs in September this year.
Yeah.
It was the last day of the training.
Yeah.
And Brady Lowe, he was one of the coaches. He was trying to put heaps of pressure on me through the whole training.
Yep.
And on the last day, he decided to get Mara, who's one of the other coaches, top in a laser. And he gave me a scenario that I had to beat Mara to win the regatta, the fake regatta. I had to either beat Mara or be one place behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole start sequence, Mara threw me around a bit.
Yeah.
And then completely thrashed me in the race, and I ended up, someone got between me and her. So she beat me in the end, but it was just amazing to race her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, really fun.
That would be memorable.
Yeah.
Hugo, I'm just looking at some of your results here just online, and I notice your boat name so salty? Talk to us about your boat names. I was always one for having a bit of fun with the boat names. My laser back in the day was called Bow Movements. So tell us about your boat names.
Well, my old boat, So Salty, that was not too fun a story, but the boat came like that. But for my new boat, it's Still Salty. The reason I did that was kind of wanted to continue on from the last one, but I'm still a bit salty that Kate Bays didn't beat me on count back at Metros. Because last year she beat me by a point, and this year she beat me by count back, and it came down to her drop being something like a sixth and mine being the UFD. And it was a stupid mistake because I was in my pre-start routine and 4 minutes to go I did my little just upwind, just for like sit above the line, and I maybe zoned out a bit and forgot it was a U flag start.
Oh no.
So I didn't get out of the back behind the line until I think 45 seconds.
I'd be a little bit salty about that myself.
Oh yeah.
One thing I will say to you, Hugo, from while you're your age, is it's good to make mistakes because you'll never make that mistake again. You know, like entrenching that knowledge by making mistakes is actually a good thing sometimes. You know, like not necessarily winning everything easily and doing stupid things like that. At a young age is the time to do them. When you're on the line of the Olympics, that's not the time to be learning those lessons. So, you know, good on you. Don't feel bad about that sort of stuff because I bet you never do it again.
Oh, no. I really don't want to.
In fact, that's one of the hard things as a coach is you've got to make sure you let the kids make their mistakes. You can see something coming rather than telling them to do it, to change it. You've got to let them make that mistake because it cements the lesson really hard. So Still Salty is the pathway. Are you going to, obviously, going on the name theme, do you think that'll carry on, the salty names? Have you been working on your next 5 generations of boats, what you're going to be calling them? Have you got them worked out yet?
Well, I was thinking about a third one, and I said to my parents, "Oh, what are your thoughts?" And they're like, "There's not going to be a third one."
Love it.
They said, "Yeah." They said, "I have to buy the next one."
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do they even have paper rounds anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you work at the moment, Hugo? Do you have a little job?
Oh, I don't have a job at the moment.
No. Okay.
But I'm hoping to get one.
Okay.
I just want to, do my instructor's course when I turn 16.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Good.
That's great. So if you are a youngster listening into this one of the best things you can do for your sailing is actually start teaching sailing because, it locks in a lot of fundamentals. So being a coach actually helps you become a better sailor. So that's a good one. So get your instructors and do as much of that as you can. Do you know what you're going to do when you leave school? Are you going to go down the university path, or are you going to do a trade, or what do you think you'll end up doing?
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to university at the moment. My thoughts kind of on doing something engineering related.
Yep. Okay. Just
go down that pathway.
So just to let you know, bud, if you look at all the leaders or CEOs of the major sailing brands, like whether it's the CEOs of sail lofts or mast builders, they're all engineers. If you look at all the top pros in the world, you have a look, they're all engineers. So it's probably a good thing. The only thing I'll say to you is get your calculus down. Make sure you got calculus worked out. Have you got your calculus worked out?
Oh, I haven't done that yet at school.
Yeah, righto. Concentrate through calculus is what I'll tell you, mate. Get it down right.
Uncle Jordan has spoken. I'm just writing that down now. Calculus.
No, well, it's good. Like I've pushed a few young sailors into the engineering path because it gives them every opportunity.
Yep.
And
agree.
Yeah, because it's also hands-on and practical. It's the perfect combination. So, Yeah. So if you want to, would you like to be a pro sailor?
I'd love to be a pro sailor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done any match racing? Like, how do you reckon you'd go, or foiling? How do you reckon you'd go at the America's Cup?
Well, I've not done match racing or foiling. So at the moment, I don't think I do well, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah, no.
Taking some more opportunities, I'd be able to gain the skills to be decent.
What about ocean racing? Would you go around the world?
Yes, that's one of my definitely something I really want to do.
Right. Have you? Do you know any famous round the world sailors?
Oh, yeah.
Who's your?
I think so.
Who do you think?
Stacey Jackson's gone around the world, hasn't she?
Absolutely.
Certainly has.
Yeah, she's gone around several times.
One of the best, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
And it's a good little segue into not only the sailing skills you need to do all those different things, but the second skills. You need, like Stacey's pushing the safety aspect at the moment through her business, but just to create and have those second skills. Like, it's important to be a really good sailor, but it's also important for their bigger boats to have those second skills as well. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Hey, Hugo, speaking of famous round the world sailors, have you heard of a guy called Nick Bice?
Oh, maybe. Yes. I think I have.
All right, mate. I think we're sort of we know you've got a bit of time pressure there, so I think we might sort of call it at this stage. What we would like to do, though, with you is just keep track of how you're going. So feel free to reach out. You know how to find me pretty easily. But yeah, we're behind you 100%. And if you ever want to ask any questions, mate, or if you want to find out a way to learn more, just reach out. We'll help. And one question you may ask, we may be able to share with people that may be of real value to the sailing world. So, been great to chat to you, Hugo.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity. This has been awesome.
Oh, good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
Cheers, Hugo. Good luck on the race course today, and look forward to seeing how it progresses.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Excellent, mate.
Hopefully I do.
Righto.
Cheers. See you, mate.
See ya.
Lads, that was a bit of fun. Thank you very much, Hugo, for joining us on the show. Young 15-year-old. He spoke very well. Thanks to his parents. We obviously cleared that through his folks because, he's still a child, so we've got to make sure we don't upset anything. But there was some real interesting things in there. When we started asking the questions around which sailors do you know, and asked how he got information, there was a sort of a logic to that. What we were trying to get to was to understand how kids get information these days, because we all grew up reading the sailing magazines, and there was all sorts of detail was explained in there. We'd see and contact a lot of these people, but that's clearly not happening at the moment. Like, these kids are much better coached, I'd suggest, than we were. Like much more intensive coaching programs. But the actual, the fact that, and no criticism of Hugo at all, but the fact that he didn't know, say, who Chris Nicholson was or something like that, like we're sort of just trying to nail down to where his awareness was. So what that tells me, and what it should be telling the sailing bodies, Australian sailing, world sailing, the way we communicate for the future generations and way we get the message across has to be different. We're not getting across to them, that detail about how to tune rigs. And
you reckon it's clearly a generational gap, right?
Yeah.
Like you say, we grew up reading Australian sailing, and we grew up seeing on those pages Ian Murray, John Bertram, Sir James, Chris Nicholson, all those people. So they're in our era type thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And what we clearly saw with Hugo, his era,
Tom
is
Slingsley.
these is slingers. It's
Yep.
Kyle Langford. It's Outridge. Like these are the guys. And no, you're right. It's a different way of communicating now, and to see how he gets his thing, and it's probably upped its way in professionalism as well. What he deals with. So it's
interesting, isn't it?
It was a bit of a mind opener, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a different way of thinking, and all the yacht clubs around, being on the board at Adelaide, for example, and the Youth Sailing Foundation, is to attract the youth.
Yep.
We need to use their language. We can't be thinking of what we did 25 years ago, which would have been good then, because it's a whole different ballgame.
I think we've got a bit of an analogy. The world has changed in the way they're getting the communication, there's no doubt. But when we were growing up, we knew who the Beatles were, right?
Yeah.
That was 25 years before we were,
Yeah.
sort of really at our age of listening to music. But these kids don't know who Pearl Jam is.
Yeah. And that's not a criticism.
You're getting my point there? You're getting my point there?
It's not a criticism. I think it's just it's the way it is. And we need to understand their thing. What I loved about the way Hugo spoke was that he didn't differentiate between male and female sailors. He spoke them absolutely equally. When he was talking about competitive sailing, he didn't mention that it was a female sailor or a male sailor. He just identified them as equal in his mind, and I love that. So that pathway is working, and so that's a strong. That came across really strongly.
Do you think we should put a sailing history lesson in our curriculum?
I'm not sure how that.
Bar karate curriculum. Shall we publish it in hardback or paperback?
We'll do it how they know it online. Just go online. It's a bit of a question.
On Snapchat.
Who was James Hardy?
There's enough people.
What was Nick Bice's first ever boat he sailed in Port Lincoln? Those sort of questions.
Oh dear. All right, moving on. And I do love how his folks said, "No, this is your last boat. You got to pay for the next one," sort of thing. So they're understanding and caring parents. They're just setting the boundaries, which was good. Let's move on. Club events. We've got some big news here from Mr. Bice. Just because you're not busy enough, Bicey.
No, you're not busy enough.
Tell my wife about that. What we have, and we're pretty pumped about this. So we have the first ever SA Sailing League coming to Adelaide. And myself and Harry Fisher, we've put this together. It's new to be run in the state. We're utilising the boats from the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia, the Elliots, which I'm heavily involved with as well. And we're working very closely with the council. We've got a lot of support from the Port Adelaide Enfield Council, and we're hosting the SA Sailing League right in the inner port in Port Adelaide in front of everyone. So for the listeners, you guys know what the Sailing League's all about. It's basically fleet racing, 5 or 6. Off you go. You just keep racing and racing and racing. And the basically whoever gets the points at the end wins the regatta. So check this out. If you were to name, 5 of the hottest sailors in SA at the moment, Robbie Doosan, Sandy Higgins, son of Sandy, Alex Higgins, Luke Stevens, and Dave Alexander. They will be duking it out in the inner port, Port Adelaide, Friday night to gain their spot into the finals.
You know what?
It's going to be that qualifier would almost be harder than the final.
Sandy gets to do the Fritz joke to Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
and then Deuce gets to respond.
But no, it's going to be awesome. We've got a few sessions, few qualifiers. So call it the Metro qualifier on Friday night, 4 to 7. So for the Adelaide listeners, please come on down to the inner port, grab a beer at the Birkenhead or the Lighthouse. Saturday morning, we've got the Metro qualifier, the regional qualifiers. So we've got people from Port Lincoln, Barmera, Victor Harbour, all over the joint. And then Saturday afternoon, 4 till 7, is the finals.
Okay.
So, and spent some time with Harry and his team. Drones, we're going live, streaming everything live. So everyone from around the world can watch what's going on. So we're excited about this.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Good luck, mate. I hope it goes well. Good luck to all the sailors.
I only have one regret.
Hey?
I'm not sailing myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be.
That's what happens when you organise.
I'll be doing the two things you love best, Jordan. Sitting behind a mic and talking shit.
Oh, dear. I wish I was over there helping. Yeah, cool. Oh, that'll be fun. I guess with Harry's involvement, there'll be a bit of video and footage of it coming out. So I assume.
Yeah, and that'll be live streamed over our platform, Down Under Sail platform, the council's platform, everything. So the idea of the timing also about being 4 to 7 that everyone can sail on Saturday, and then once they're back in the bar doing a bit of bar karate, they can have it streaming live in the
excellent,
around the world.
Great thinking, love it. All right, moving on.
Looking forward. We shall.
Jack Lloyd, listener of the week.
Yep.
You got that, BP?
I mean, I can bring it in. You want me to bring it in?
If you
Bring
want.
it in.
Are you
Bring
ready?
it in. Bring it in. Paul Hode.
Paul Hode.
Hody.
Hody. Good old Hody.
Yeah.
Hodester.
He's our man. Can I read the email because it sets the scene a little bit? Funny you should mention calling your new VX1 Delta variant. I was thinking before listening last night about how similar my old 11 is to Omicron. It's a variant of concern with 50 different mutations. I'm currently looking for a spot on the naturals for the world next year, but I'm having trouble because I don't know what they look like. Okay, fair enough. We'll take that. Now, I did respond, but since then there's been some updates, and I don't think you guys do know about this because I like to hold you in the dark as much as possible.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
no,
Yes.
you've done well. Yes, got him.
Give it to us, BP.
Okay, so the word is we were going down the path of the M11s, but I've decided to move away from that and tell you that we are potentially looking at, ladies and gentlemen, a second Bar Karate VX1.
Yes.
Yes.
Just as the VX1 of Bicey is called Delta variant, which means everyone is going to catch it at some stage. Mm-hmm. We've decided to call it, of course, Omicron. Seems to pose no real threat.
Is that genuine?
And we could go one step further and say it's not as bad as first thought. So,
Mate, how long have you been holding this?
Is this genuine?
it's genuine. It's looking that
fantastic.
way. We are in discussion. So
You and Danny or who?
we're working on it. Keep it quiet. Don't tell everyone.
Keep it quiet.
Don't
You
tell
brought it
anyone.
up.
No, we're working on it, and it is working through the channels. Obviously, it's in discussion. Haven't spoken to the people who own any boats yet, but we're working on that.
Just do what I do. Just put it in the driveway. Tell your wife 100% non-refundable deposit.
That's right. So we've decided that Omicron seems to pose no real threat is a good way to go.
Dear, oh dear. That's very good. That's good.
That's some of your best work.
It is. Delta variant and Omicron, the two Bar Karate boats. Jesus Christ, how did that happen? Oh, we've got some news coming up about boats as well. Jeez, there's more news on boats. Okay, righto.
It's hot time with bites.
Peel the pants off. Peel the pants off.
Mate, you know the track suits for the buttons down the side?
Oh,
I'm
hang
going
on.
to be wearing them during my commentary for the sailing league and just play that halfway through.
Love it. Love it.
Just like Jackass 3, the movie, I reckon. Remember when that guy did it in that? And he had his budgies
When
on
Bam
underneath.
did it.
Yeah, had the budgies on underneath and then rocked into a bit of dance.
Oh, I love it. Rightio. Gents, a couple of big ones have come out this week, and this one's quite close to home.
What's up?
Which former America's Cup team has announced their participation in the next America's
Do we
Cup?
got to put our
told
hands
the
up for?
world.
Do we got to put our hands up for this? Or
Yeah, you're all over it, boys. You had this months ago.
I was gonna
Months
say,
ago.
I think you just are ramming it home that we seem to be the breaker of news. This happened ages
Oh,
ago.
yeah. Like, this is old news. That's what I wrote, one of the comments on one of the face, whatever,
You should say
stuffnewzealand.co, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I just wrote old news.
what are we in now? Nearly episode 150. Just go episode 80.
Yeah.
Barkarati.
Yeah.
No. So Alengi
Yeah.
have apparently announced that they'll be taking part.
Yeah, it's great news. I don't care what anyone says.
So my theory on this, remember, they were going to take the cup to, where was it, in the Middle East?
Jeddah.
No, not Jeddah, but
Jeddah's
basically
now
they missed
current.
out on doing that. They did some training and stuff out of there, but now they can really go to the Middle East because the next cup's going to be in Jeddah anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
There you go.
Throwing other things out there, bossy, eh?
That's right. So as of within the next few days also is the special general meeting being held at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron.
Special
So
general meeting.
we'll be keeping a close eye on that. And the listeners, I'm sure, whether you've listened to it before or after this, it's going to be some big news coming out of there on what's going to happen in regards to the Cup staying or leaving.
Yep.
So I believe there's a bit of a revolt going on
Yep.
within Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron ranks.
Yep. 100% true. Yep. Interesting times is all I'll say. Interesting times. I would find it very hard to believe that a nation as passionate as New Zealand is there, and about New Zealand things, that they would want. There'd be very many people keen to see it go away from New Zealand for any reason.
100%. I totally agree. Totally agree.
And that'll come out pretty obviously at that meeting, I'd suggest.
Yep.
Cool.
100%. All right. Next topic, gents. It was part of the topics last week. Who won World Sailor of the Year? And just a quick little side note here. Apologies for last week. I got a bit in depth with the male Sailor of the Year. But who won male and female Sailor of the Year 2021?
Well, we all know that. Well, first off, massive congratulations to Tom Slingsby, Australian, great mate of the show, and Hannah Mills.
Yes.
Well deserved.
Yes, fantastic.
Extremely well deserved.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Imagine being named World Sailor of the Year. I wouldn't shut up.
Aren't you World Sailor of
just
the Year
imagine
anyway?
it. You know, like those
World
guys.
Commentator of the Year.
Like those guys, BP, that walk around like the one-man band.
Yeah.
And they kick their foot and the cymbal goes off and all that sort of shit.
Drums and guitars.
Jordan will be walking around with his big podcasting mic just hanging over in front of him with the loudspeakers just going off.
You know what?
Number one.
If I ever did get named World Sailor of the Year, they'd have to move my photo out of the Dunnies at Adelaide Sailing Club. That's all I'd say.
Oh, don't worry, I've already done that.
Okay.
So Slingers, Hannah, massive congratulations. We'd love to get you on the show at some point, Hannah.
Yeah, well, they'll both be.
I've reached out, but so just so you know, Hannah, make sure you check your messages, please.
Yeah. Well, they'll both be in Sydney in 2 weeks, assuming everything goes ahead. And we're going to try and do a live thing on the Sunday after the Sail GP, assuming we're all allowed in and everything goes ahead. We'll be there floating around the village with them. So maybe I'll just grab Hannah's arm and twist it, because we'd be super keen to chat to her, I think. Amazing career.
Absolutely.
Super.
So just on the Sail GP, I noticed a whole bunch of sales of just tickets have just come back online.
Oh.
So it's pretty clear that a lot of people have cancelled
Yeah.
their trip. Because 2 weeks ago,
Or unable to get here.
you could not buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now they've all come back online. So, stand by, watch this space, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. This one's a little on the sadder note. Which yacht club during the week had a devastating fire in Australia?
Narrabeen.
Narrabeen
Lakes.
Narrabeen Lakes.
Yeah, 115-year-old club. A fire started close by. It moved into the actual club rooms and destroyed it. Bloody hard times.
Uncalled for. Beep, beep. Censored. No, come on.
I'm not,
No.
I couldn't resist the joke. I apologise. It was bad taste, but just the hot.
No. But look, it is terribly sad. It's happened a couple of times in the last few years here in Sydney, and Narrabeen Lakes, of course, is a beautiful part of the world, and it was devastating to see. Once those boats get on, they don't stop. So they've gone up in smoke, and I hope everyone up there gets it all back together, and I'm sure they will. The community will get behind them and
just
make it happen.
devastate. Like volunteer-run clubs, and for something like that to happen,
Yeah,
geez,
it's heartbreaking. Yeah.
You know what?
Heartbreaking.
Actually, one of the big things, and I've spoken to a few people that have been in clubs that this has happened, is the thing that really devastates them is the memorabilia that's on the walls, because
That's exactly right.
they don't have a copy of it. They don't have a saved. So I do know clubs go and get scanned versions of everything so they can replicate it if it all goes away, if that happens. But
I think
that's the one.
Narrabeen Lakes were okay with your photo.
Yeah, no. And
you've got the same
if you
photo.
want your photo that was in the Dunnies,
I'll
just
send
have
you
a
a new
look
one,
at the
yeah.
big blue bin. Yeah, you've got another one.
Boom.
Boom. Cool. Yeah.
No,
Bad luck
very
to-
sad news, and to all those people up there, just get in there and do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
way
But
forward.
it's probably, this will help bind the club together even more, I'd imagine. Like a disaster like this will bring the members closer together, and it will be even more tight knit. So
I'm sure that we'll hear more about it, and if there's anything that can be done, Narrabeen Lakes Sailing Club, give us a yell, and we'll do it.
Yeah, that's happened in my family when my youngest brother was born. Disaster like that brought us together.
Gee, you're on fire.
God, you are.
You got a jingle for that as well?
Oh, dear. All right. And any more, boss?
No, well, I do have another one, but I think we can treat that as a separate topic, which is the Etchels.
Oh, the Etchels.
One of my favourite topics.
Well,
What's going on now?
Let's do the Etchels. Let's bring it in.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby.
Mate, you're going to get a job on Triple M at some point.
Yeah. Don't miss your chance to win your own fabulous island and win lots of cash.
I'm not doing any of that crap. I just I was listening to the radio, driving the car this morning. I heard that song come on. I go, oh man, why haven't I used that one before? And the Etchels one. All right, let's talk Etchels. What have you got? Do you want me to talk it, or do you want to?
No, you talk it, mate. You talk it. Been sent another beautiful bit of correspondence.
We've got
But,
we've got a
there's only
fairly
enough. It's not enough hours in the day.
another 900 page that came in ahead of the International Class Association's AGM. There's some proposed amendments to motions that have been brought forward. I reckon there's 18 of them, and if I read out what they're about. So proposed coordination of club and national competition, proposed change to management and non-member governors, controversial there, replacing governor vacancies, amendment to rule change to communication to members and conflict of interest, retirement of the whistleblower clause, the World Sailing Technical Representative, financial statements to members. There's stuff going down, sanctions.
Retirement of the whistleblower clause, did you say?
Reinstatement.
Reinstatement of the whistleblower clause.
Reinstatement of the whistleblower clause.
Sanctions, IGC chairman delegations, election voting, closed class rules, inclusions of plans and specifications, and GARBID. Okay, this is a big deal, okay? This is a big deal. I'm not sure how much I should say about this. I'll maybe talk to you boys about this offline, but there's some serious strategy in putting this forward, right? I'll be interested, just so for the listeners out there knowing that, so that's going to the AGM. What will happen? I don't know. But if you...
By the way, AGM taking place on the 10th of December.
Yep. Which is very close. Before the next episode of Barkarati. There's some serious strategy and very smart strategy behind this, but I won't say what it is yet. I'll talk to you about it off the background. But whoever came up with these motions is very smart. There's some very clever thought gone into this. I can see the consequences of this flowing right months and months down the track. So, but anyway, there's still more to come in the actual world. Nothing happening. You announced that big shock news the other week, Bryce, with the no nationals going ahead. So in Australia, Etchell class is in turmoil. BP discussion just then saying that his team is going to the VXs. Bryce's team's going to the VXs. So that is interesting. So let me roll into...
That's enough to bring the world down. The world is changing. Bicey and BP are gone.
I can say, though, speaking of the VX1 class, I was having correspondence this morning with one of the main drivers behind the class, and there has been talk of new sailing instruction addendum being put in as well in the VX1 class.
Oh.
Now, the addendum...
Speed shopping?
The addendum is that you will get a DSQ to go on your sailing scorecard if your vehicle spills too much oil on the car park.
That's a good one.
I like it.
I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah.
Are you on the committee? Jay?
But one of the committee members is a great source of sending me lots of Land Rover Discovery photos. He loves this banter. I will say that your secret backer is also prone to a Discovery, so there is a high risk for the Delta variant to be disqualified at class events.
I'd say, well, let's put it this way. If we add up all the vehicles in the quiver, if the regatta is 7 races long, we've got 7 DSQs.
I was going to say 7 litres.
Yeah. Oh, dear. All right. Okay. All right. So that's that. That's that. I've got a bit of news. This one's interesting, lads. Do you guys know I like the 5.0s? Have you heard about the 505 class much?
Sorry, 505?
Yeah.
What's that?
Second best off-beach class in the world.
Nice. There's been an ongoing project for quite a few years where one of the class stalwarts has been creating a 505 book. Lots of images, like they're taking these photos right through the history. So, Hugo, if you want to learn about the 50 class, this is a great example. It's a book. A book is something with paper and pages, and you open it up, and it's going to have lots of pictures in it. What they're proposing to do, and this would be interesting, it's going to launch. The book's going to be launched during the Worlds in Ireland, which is in August 2022. And we'll probably send one of us over to cover the launch. But from Christmas Day for the next 12 days, the 12 days of Christmas, I don't know how that actually works, but they're going to the author of the book can't decide which 12 between 12 photos for the cover. He can't decide which one should be. So they're going to publish a photo on the 50 website, and we may share it, where you can go in and vote to say which one you think it should be. So there'll be a new photo every day for 12 days.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So that'll be interesting, I reckon. A lot of fun. So
yeah.
So everyone can have a vote if they want. And obviously I'll point out... Hey?
What number are we voting for?
Yeah,
George?
I don't know. Well, I can't remember all the numbers. I think 887790 something. I'll have to go. I can't remember. Too many. But anyway, look for a really big, ugly guy on the wire, and you should be sweet.
And they're actually following through with it, unlike our coffee table book, which is still in progress, by the way.
Absolutely.
By the way, the Aiken obviously has been shaken from the front cover.
Yes.
And potentially will be replaced with the Delta variant.
Right. Okay. Now, shall we get on to the most important topic?
Please.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, I had to put some paper in the printer at home the other day, and I had in my hand an A4 piece of paper.
Oh. Go on. BP, you're on...
You're on mute, I think, BP. We can't hear you, bud. Okay, so...
You're on.
I've been thinking, and the A4, I had the A4 piece of paper out. I was doing a lot of thinking. You know how we discussed when we were talking to Guillaume Verdier about designing a single-hander for the bigger boats that you could, just release plans and people could build?
Yep.
I put some thought into it, and actually having Hugo talk sort of made me really realise that just releasing plans is not going to be the go. It's not everyone's got the ability or the space or the time to be able to build from a set of plans. So I've worked out a way, and I have to discuss it with both of you, but I've worked out a way that we could release a kit, right? So I don't think anybody wants to get a plywood boat and have an uncompetitive boat. So I'm thinking it's a foam sandwich, epoxy boat. So you're going to have carbon, e-glass, foam sandwich, epoxy, high-density foam with epoxy resins kit that you can make a single-handed boat. So it all just slots together. And I've worked out how to do it. I've put a lot of thought into it, and I want to write the brief. But I reckon that what we can do is if we did it that way and then it slots together the way I've worked out, then you don't need anything. It all comes in the kit. You just put it together and you get your resin system and a bit of carbon tape and stick it all together, and then a little bit of filler and sanding and a bit of paint and rig it out. So it'll be fairly standard. We'll do a deal with the mast manufacturer. We'll get the foils provided, and foils and rudder provided, tiller, rudder box, that simple thing. And what I'll be doing is hoping that we can get it into half the cost of a small off-the-beach dinghy, at least half the cost. And we target bigger people, so male and female, but also by bringing the cost right down, we can get those kids that we're losing who run out of mum and dad's wallet and then go off and study at university or whatever, and they don't have the cash to keep going. So it's going to be a cool boat, maybe main and kite, just a hiking boat. I've got it worked out, and between the three of us, we'll need to put a bit of expertise in, but I'd like to progress it. I think that we could make money for a lot of people in the industry. We could have a Harkin kit or a Ronston kit, or we'll just decide on the mast.
Old Allen kit.
Hey, an Allen kit, yeah, we can do however the rigging, but we'll keep it simple, but enough controls to really tune the rig, like it'll be a stayed rig rather than a cat rig, so you can actually tune it a little bit. But, yeah, just a fun boat, and one that...
What are we going to call the class, Jordan?
BK1?
BK.
The BK1.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I like it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Rightio.
Okay, well, let's get cracking then.
You guys are on board?
What colour are you going for? BP's gone for the magenta offering with the X2.
Right.
What?
Yeah,
what
I reckon a nice solid lime green.
Oh,
real sort of that real hot. I can't look at it in the sun. Lime green.
Right. I'm not really too focused on colour. It hasn't something that hasn't occurred to me.
what font shall we use on?
Yeah, I've got the font as well.
Oh no, I've got the logo worked out too.
The font is always good. A bit of Peregrine or a bit of Sofa Chrome.
No.
Bold works well.
You know what it's going to be? Logo's going to be that bright yellow smiley face.
Oh yeah, the pinger head one.
Hey.
The pinger heads.
Yeah,
the
whatever
heads.
they're called. I don't know. The bright yellow. Oh, jeez. Just take out the mic. And the bright yellow smiley face. Why not? It's got to be the best logo in the world. I'm not sure if we're allowed to use it, but
the disco biscuit symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Because that's what the class is about. But anyway, so I've been thinking about it. I reckon if we could create a kit form, make it work, allow sail makers to make their own sails to suit. But, within the rules, it could really work. And we could create some income at a low level for all the people that get involved in the project. But then we create more sailors for the world. And that's
Yes.
only good. That's good. So everyone wins in the long run. So
Love it.
yeah,
Right.
we don't
Love it.
step on any established classes' toes. It's definitely trying to fit into a niche.
And as you say, all of this has come from an A4 bit of paper.
A4 bit of paper, the magic of the A4.
Just pinch the ends together. It's pretty simple, really.
It is very simple.
A nice shape you've got there.
It is. You've done well with that one, boss.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Cool.
Right,
Love
that's bloody good.
Well done, Jay.
The last thing I want to mention, the laser class world's on the what we'd call the radials, the Ilka 6s.
The Ilka, the IKEA sixes.
The
The
IKEA
Ikeas, I still can't get my head around it. The Ilkas. It sounds like a bloody killer whale, the orcas thing.
Yeah,
It just
doesn't it?
Doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me.
Anyway, best of
Right.
luck to everyone racing those. They're midway at the moment, so we won't sort of do results. You can all look up results, but just cheering on our friends there. What else? I must admit, I did get a note from their number one Australian female sailor saying that she was listening to Bar Karate putting the numbers on her sail just before the regatta. So, and I know you had Kyle Langford, the most likely to break something, listening to the ep as he was coming down the sail with you on the Willow. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's all happening.
No, it's good.
And then, of course, we'll be creating quite a lot of volume at Sail GP in the upcoming weeks. So I think that's it from me. Anything else? What was that you shared, BP?
Hey?
What was that you shared before?
Oh, just made the Mr. March of the wooden 2022 boat calendar.
Mr. March. Love it.
Mr. March.
Love it. Love it.
Classic Wooden Boats Australia.
Beauty. Cool.
It's a magazine.
Hey?
Cool. All right, gents.
Very good.
Let's
Thank
wrap
you.
her up.
Wrap her up.
Guitar out, my friend.
Guitar.
And by the way, getting a few just trickling through, selling some more merchandise. So for those that are keen on a bit of Christmas merch, get onto the website, barkarate.com. Check it out. I'm sure there's something there for you.
Good one.
Yeah, actually, boys, did I tell you we got approached by one of the podcasting networks to join their network?
Oh, how'd they go for us?
I ignored it. I figure we can start our own network.
Way more successful.
All right,
Good
yeah. But if you,
Thanks for letting us know.
oh,
mate.
I'm letting you know. And for the listeners, thanks for being part of the show. We love you guys. We get some great feedback. Just keep it coming. If you do feel like giving us a rating, 5 stars. If you're unhappy with us, just send money. And
Well done, Paul Hogue, listener of the week. You beauty.
yeah, good work. And tell your friends.
Merch pack Condit's way.
Yeah.
Or not.
Right, see you, boys.
See you,
See ya.
team.